Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to Community Light Hours. My name is Suzanne Conrad. I'm the founder of Light Year Leadership and the creator really of the body of work that we use to develop coaches that lead people through a number of bodies of work. And the reason I created Light Year is honestly, I just really wanted to shake up my friends. I was tired of hearing them complain. That's the truth. Don't tell my friends. Don't tell them. But I really wanted to be around people who were up to things, who wanted to bring the goodness that they believed could happen into reality in the world, whether that's in their family and finding a way to love their husband yet again that day, their children, whether it's about changing the world in a deeper, more profound and systemic way, the way we just were in a coach's conversation about dealing with allyship and racial diversity. So I created Light Year so that we could all have a greater chance to become who we see we could be. So there's a whole platform that we've created that's like LinkedIn. Instead of it about who you've been, it's about who you're becoming, where you get to create a profile about your vision and your goals and receive support in it. Now, this call specifically is about how to break the cycle of scarcity and to introduce people to a body of work that I created about 10 years ago called Global Perspective and Possibility. And in that is a course that's called Whole Prosperity. And it's really about redefining our own worth, our own relationship to wealth, and how to have it on lots of different levels. So the leaders of that course are the wonderful Daniel McCall and Jen Fowler, and also Casey Carrion, who became wealthy by becoming the mother of her second daughter. And she'll be joining them to lead the course here in a little bit. And then I want to just stoke the flame about these folks. So Daniel and Jen have had the wealth of working in the leadership field, the wellness field, for over a decade together. And I have worked with Daniel for over 12 years and Jen now for 3 directly. And I can tell you that they've been at point blank range of me for they're great leaders of this work. And what I'm going to do in this call is really cut Daniel loose first to share with you some of these ideas about how our inherited legacies can impact and restrain that, let's call it, as Jen was mentioning earlier, this valve that is meant to really connect us to energy, to source, to the body of wealth that is ours. So without further ado, and with great pleasure, I want to introduce to you Jen Fowler and Daniel McCall and let them take us into this body of work. And I do want to say one more thing before they come on. We record these, we post them on YouTube. We will be interacting. There will be live coaching. So just know that, you're being recorded, and whatever you say and whatever we coach you in, we design it with the heart that you're contributing to someone in the future who's watching the recording. And we don't ever shame you or pick on you. And we really look forward to hearing from at least 4 to 5 people and getting to actively coach, because that's what we do. Okay, that's it, Daniel. Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Suzanne. I am so happy to see everyone and be here tonight. This is a direct, we're really pulling directly from Whole Prosperity. So just to be really clear, like if you get something amazing from this call tonight, which is very likely you will, if you want more of those good things, Whole Prosperity begins at the end of this month. That's what Casey and Jen and I are co-leading. And we're really starting with the idea, here's the title. Look, I'm just going to read the title because Jen and I came up with it and I really, really love it. And it sets everything up perfectly. So the title of tonight is Breaking the Cycle of Scarcity Thinking, Overcoming the Limiting Beliefs Holding You Back from Wealth and Abundance. And when I think of like the limiting beliefs, like I'm coming, like even today, I'm coming to the table with, because I'm discovering limiting beliefs like all the time. there's still a little bit of like, I don't have enough time for that. I don't have enough money for that. I'm planning a transcontinental trip right now, going all the way across North America. And I've noticed myself just thinking like, oh, I don't quite have enough money for that, or that's a really expensive thing. Yet it's coming from a more reactive place. What are some of the other, just like off the top of your head, Jen, like what are some of like the quick limiting beliefs around wealth, abundance, relationships, time that you kind of see, even just showing up right now?
Oh my gosh, there's not enough. And this is a hard thing. It has to be hard to have worth. I have to work so hard to prove my worth. Um,
Mm,
there's never enough money. Having money equals happiness. Money
yeah.
doesn't make happiness. You can't make enough money doing your passion or purpose, right? Like you have to do hard work. You can't live your purpose.
Hmm.
And like one that's really landing for me that I've taken on in the past couple of years is I determine my value. My value is not told to me,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's been a huge one for me. And that I was just telling a client of mine that limiting beliefs are like when I was a little kid, I was scared of the dark. And so when I would go to sleep and I would need my closet doors shut, or like I would need my closet doors because the scary things hang in the closet. And limiting beliefs are like turning the light on and opening the closet doors. Like we get to open the closet doors and shine a light on them. And that's really and being able to see them really is the ability to transform them. And it's so fun to jump in and dig into them.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jen. There's some more. Crystal in the chat is, if it comes easily, it's not worth as much. Um, Creative people are poor, wealthy people are jerks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I used to be like kind of the starving artist person who thought I had to be starving to be an artist. Like I thought that was like a requirement for being an artist. I have to in a bad marriage because I can't afford a divorce. Oh, y'all are already doing this. This is so good. Keep putting some of those in the chat just so we kind of have a rich foundation to dissect. So when I think of those limiting beliefs, what we start with in the whole prosperity course is really re-examining, for those of you who've done the vision and goal work before, or examining for the first time, what are the inherited legacies I have around, wealth, abundance, money, finances, relationship, time. And those beliefs are largely inherited, right? We're born into a sea of beliefs, of culture. We're born into, a country, a city, a particular religion. And so as soon as we get here, like all that stuff is going on, and we're just dunked in it, kind of baptized in everyone else's beliefs, and they really stick. And so what we've learned to do in Lightyear is really concretely look at, well, what is my inherited legacy around money, particularly from like my mother's line, my mom and my grandmother and that whole family. What are the particular beliefs that I've inherited from my father's line? And the thing we do differently at Light Years, we actually find those answers. And once we start to see, oh, this thing I've had, like, you're not an artist unless you're, poor and suffering, is actually something I learned from someone else. And I never really looked at it. I kind of just took it as truth and ran with it. And so I was being, poor on purpose to think, oh, this is how I have my artistic identity. So by looking at those things, those inherited beliefs, those inherited legacies, we actually get set free of them. This is know the truth and discern the truth, and the truth will set you free. So like the whole tool tonight is going to be a commentary on this. Like, what did you get born into or learn at a young age that's actually putting a cap on your ability to create abundance, putting a cap on your ability to own your value and have wealth, whether that's a physical, like in the world wealth, like cash and capital and money, or wealth of other things that might actually be your true wealth, like the amount of time you have to spend with family, the amount of freedom you have in how you operate day to day. I'm transitioning my whole life now from a um, static in one place like lifestyle to a nomadic lifestyle, and that's given me a wealth of flexibility in how I work and how I do things. And I wouldn't have been able to have done this without first examining a lot of these inherited legacies. So I'm going to give some real examples of this before we ask you all, just to really identify some of these things. And
Oh, you're breaking up a bit,
I
Daniel.
have my here. So I grew up in a rural, oh, all right. There are storms. Can you
Yes.
hear me now? Should I try
Yeah.
off video?
Yeah, we gotcha.
Okay, I'm talking now, so I'll just keep the video off for the moment. So, growing up in a rural, kind of depressed part of North Carolina, there was lots of things that I just learned weren't for me. So, like, I wasn't really going to travel a lot. I wasn't going to get like, you know, the car when I was a teenager. College, I'm a first generation college student at both sides of my family. So like, there's a lot of things that I grew up thinking just weren't for me. And alongside that, I noticed, particularly from my dad's side, I had inherited this disdain for people who were wealthy or even just perceived as wealthy. My dad comments, he's kind of the old Southern cuss and fuss kind of a guy, but like he would like cuss and fuss if there were people, what he called, showboating or living a fancy life. Like he had a disdain for that. And I noticed, especially like going through college and starting to get, jobs, that I had a little bit of that bucking authority and bucking the man and this disdain for wealth. And then I ended up in a career where I was working for one of the most wealthy people in North Carolina. And I realized like, oh, if I actually want to have this job and make this career work for me, I'm going to have to not like hate my boss because of their financial status. And that was really the start of me unteasing this inherited legacy, right, that had been actually, preventing me from interacting and working with people of all kinds of financial backgrounds, not just the wealthy. Like it really identifying this liberated me to be working with the ultra wealthy. I've traveled with billionaires and millionaires in my life. It's been fun. I've got to do work with them. And I've also done work in many of the poorest and most depressed places on the planet outside. And, I'm talking like, Kenya and Ethiopia. And I would not have been able to do those things on without really addressing these inherited legacies. Jen, I'd love for you to talk to and kind of give us your example. It's such a good one. and
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. You were breaking up just a little bit towards the end. So I've had a big couple of years as it relates to money, as it relates to my own sense of worth. I was out a job ended during the pandemic. And so in 2020, the career that I've had many careers through my lifetime. I started in investment banking and have moved around many times and was a yoga teacher, led people through the yoga studio, and that career ended during the pandemic. Did coach training, resolved to start a coaching business, and holy Toledo, like all the inherited legacies that I've had around money have shown up as I've begun to start a business, right? And go out and create this business on my own. And one of the inherited legacies that I have carried forward is around working for someone else's success is more important than working for my own success. Like seeing someone else's success and jumping in and digging into that success is more important than my own. And that ability to step back and to claim my own success. And y'all sit in front of people and talk about what I do and ask for money and say, this is what I charge. And the biggest thing that's happened to me this year is sitting in front of people and say, this is what I've charged, this is what I charge, and then stopping and allowing that to process. And the inherited legacy that came from me, that came before, was that, like, that someone else's worth was more important, someone else's work was more important, and that I had to prove that worth, that I wasn't able to just speak it out loud, that I needed to go prove it. And I had this conversation with a business partner that I was looking to do some work with, and we were talking about getting aligned and moving through all the processes of working together. And she said, what's your rate? And I said, this is what it is. And she said, I don't want to pay that, I'm too cheap. And I said, let me tell you, Thompson, if you pay me what you want to pay me, you're not going to be happy. And I'm not going to be happy. It's not, trust me, you don't want to pay me that. You want to feel good about what you're going to pay me. And I want to feel good about what you pay me, because the work that will happen because of us both feeling good will be better for us both. And it took me really stepping into my worth, owning my worth, feeling my body in this conversation to be able to have that conversation with her. So I feel like every single day I've got these upgrades. I know, Jenna, like, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Jenna knows me and has been in this with me. And it's a big deal to be able to see my worth, to own it, and to go out and create this business. So that's a little bit of what I carry with it. Daniel, do you have anything else, or is it time to begin to hear from some folks on what they're sensing?
Well, I do want to say one more your share just revealed and why it's so important to be looking at these inherited legacies, because the beliefs that we have are going to come out in our behavior. So I just want to make that really clear. Like, Jen, the way you were just sharing is like, if you actually didn't have a strong belief in your value, your behavior would have been different. And you might have said yes to the discounted price and all the stuff that comes after that. Like, well, fine. So I'm only worth that much. So we'll be unhappy working together. You know, I can see the behaviors in my life, like it changed how I acted around people when I shifted these inherited legacies. So it's always going to come out in our behavior. I think that's just important to see. And I do want to hear from people now, because I love to hear from other people. And let's do this. So I'll help people get a map really quickly so that everyone can play along. This is kind of like the do your homework in class kind of thing. So the question is, you know, what beliefs or what beliefs or inherited legacies were you born into, or did you inherit around wealth, abundance? And you can really include things like time and relationships as well. It doesn't have to simply be about like currency in a financial sense, but our relationship currency, our relationship with time. And the way we like to do this at Lightyear is to get a map. And so we do that by asking a concrete question like, how many inherited beliefs do I need to identify from my mother? And I'll ask and just get the number first. Instead of having to think of them all in order, I'll just get the number. And then I'll ask myself, well, how many inherited beliefs around abundance do I need to identify from my father? So I'll get a quick map. And then I will go and start to identify those. That way my brain has a nice concrete map to work with. And so that's the question. You know, what beliefs were you born into, or did you inherit? You might want to ask specifically, like from my mother, from my father. Could also be like from other, like from school, or you know, from the religion you were born into. Those are all fair game too. And let's do that first. So I'll give everyone like a good minute, a full 60 seconds to simply listen for your map and jot down a few notes. And then we'll have some people come on and share. And that's really the magic. By identifying them and sharing them, we can clear them. Okay, so your minute started. If you're writing, write. If you're doing head writing, you can do that. And you just have a minute to do that. See if there's any other color to put in there. This is like clearing the static or interference. And to clear it, you got to identify it. Like, what is that staticky thought or belief, that crackle that happens, right? Big investment with yourself or for yourself. What's the interference when you set a financial goal?
Yeah, that interference, Daniel, like when you're listening for what that is, listen for like that first thing that you hear, and it's probably going to be really fast. Like you got to pause to hear it, and you can tee yourself up in your place that you hear, like when you sit in front of a client and you ask to get paid what you want, or you go out to look for the new client, or you have a conversation with your partner about a budget to be on, or you check your bank account, or these are the places that you're going to look to see where those inherited legacies and beliefs live. Those are just
Okay.
a few.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a good minute. It might have been 2 minutes. So let's do this. I'd love to have maybe hands raised digitally, just because there's quite a few people on the call and I can't see everyone. But let's get a sense of what you're seeing and sensing, how your map is coming along and what you're seeing. And then if there's any coaching to be done, Jen and I are here for that as well. So let's see here. Jenna, you were the first hand to pop up on my screen. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks. I got a lot of beliefs around money that are need to go.
Yes, it's a good time to find them. So what do you got?
Well, the first one that came to mind is I always grew up hearing my dad talk about how like the rug got pulled out from underneath him for like big deals. Like, so he'd be like, oh yeah, I would have been a millionaire if this hadn't happened, or I would have been this if this hadn't happened. And there was a lot of like, I don't trust that money stays because things just pull it away. And I've experienced that myself quite a bit, especially this last couple of years with branching out into this new realm of business and like trusting that money is going to stay, or trusting that like something, like I've had big things that come up like dental work, or like as soon as I start to get ahead, then it's like boom, you have a $3,000 dental payment to pay, or you've got like something with your car, or so there's trust issues around like, how am I ever going to get ahead with the money,
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're cutting out, Daniel.
So the inherent.
Yeah, Daniel, you're cutting out. You may want to go. Where are you? Off video. Yep.
Going. Okay, yeah. So I was simply asking, so then what is the inherited belief or legacy? Is it like money doesn't, and there could be multiple. Is it money doesn't stay? Is it something about like the rug being pulled out? Like that could be something like blame, or it's someone else's fault. But what's
it's something
what's
around
right
not
there
trusting.
underneath it?
I think it's, I don't trust money will stay.
Yeah. I don't trust money will stay.
That's
yeah. So and there's an unspoken piece of that is, and it's like comma, and it should, like that's really the belief. It's like I don't trust money to stick around, and it should.
Mm.
And so one of the things we talk about with this idea of whole prosperity is the idea of currency, which also has this root in the word current or flow. And one of the things I've really had to learn to embrace is that money actually isn't designed to stick around. It doesn't like to stay in one place. It likes to circulate and it likes to flow. And I've been in that same belief of like, well, I just got some. Why can't it hang out for a little while? You know, like it would be nice to hang out and be friends. So, you know, it's more of that unspoken part, like, and that's what it should do. That's like the inherited legacy there.
Yeah, it's like intellectually I know that. And that's why I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, well then I'll just put this $1,000 thing on my credit card because I know money's supposed to circulate and come back to me. And then it's like, oh crap, now I'm like this many $1,000 in debt, you know? So like there's a little bit of like I trust that there's supposed to be flow and
Yeah.
energy, but then it doesn't always come back in
Yeah.
the way that I need it to, or I'm like, oh no, well, and that was another one of my inherited legacies is like I'll always be in debt. Or like I'm never
Yeah.
gonna get out of debt.
Yeah. Yeah. So there, okay, good. Keep write all of those down. I was going to ask one more question. Let me get it. How do you behave when you believe I don't trust in money? I don't trust it to stick around.
Very fearful of like, yeah, there's a lot of fear and like anxiety around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I still spend money like I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna still buy what I want to buy and do what I'm not like I don't budget or anything like that. So that's probably gets me in trouble too. But like I do always have a constant like anxiety around it.
Right. Oh, this is perfect. So that's actually the behavior right there that inherited belief is doing. It's like I'm not budgeting. I'm spending money like it's going to come back. But like these little behaviors, and that's really what those inherited legacies are causing. So the question then is like, well, what do you want to release from that? And what kind of a legacy do you want to create around money and how it operates with you?
I mean, I want to create a legacy that money flows in easily and I can spend money without having to stress about it.
Uh-huh.
And I've been at points like that. I feel like right now I'm kind of at it's like a little bit of a scarier time with that, but like I want to trust that there's plenty of money coming in and that I can support myself and buy whatever I need. I can pay my rent. I can, take the trips. I can do the things that I want to do with that money. I want there to just be like a flow and an ease with the money and the circulation of it.
Permission to
Okay.
interject, Daniel and Jenna?
Yes, please.
Please, yes.
So just to take it to another level. Now, I know Jenna and some of you that have your hand raised, I don't know as well, but see, since the main energy issue is trust, what's happening in your behavior is you're not trusting money. And so money doesn't trust you.
Mm.
Do you see? So by budgeting, or at least by paying attention to it in a loving, conscious way, instead of saying like, figure yourself out and just show up for me. It's kind of like, do you see how that's, do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. Carry on.
And you're
then,
right.
dear.
When I do actually look at it and like, I mean, I still probably will never be an actual budgeter. I don't really like budgeting. I'm not like I don't like setting aside this and this and this, but I do notice when I look at it in like a spreadsheet form, I'm like, okay, this is how much I spent on this bill and this bill.
Right.
It does help me to like not feel so anxious about it.
Yes. And that's
Yeah.
part of what it's wanting to teach you. So that might not have been something you inherited from either parent, and it might be a skill in your own way you could learn. And that would be the thing for 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll say too, Jenna, I had to learn that there's actually different kinds of budgeting. So like there's more than one way to budget $1, apparently. And I had to really learn like a style and a mentality that I could get behind. And the one that I found is made popular by one app called You Need a Budget. Like that's what the app is called. But it's basically zero sum budgeting might be the name. But basically, instead of budgeting, I give every dollar I have a job. So all of my money has a job, and I'm kind of more of like the overseer of their jobs, which is just a total bonkers way of looking at budgeting, it seems like. But for me, then it works, and then I can kind of get behind it. It's not always perfect, yet I'm more willing to be involved in it rather than that, like, oh, I can't budget, or I don't know how to budget, or I don't like budgeting.
I'd love to add something. This is so fun. Jenna, thanks for going first. And thanks for talking about budgets. I'll add to this too, Jenna, and I'm in it with you. Totally in it with you. And here's the thing about money that I don't know if this speaks to you. One of the places I go is to avoid. Is to completely avoid and not pay attention to. And what I'm cultivating is a relationship with money, right? Like if I said how would I treat money if it were my partner? Like if it were Doug, would I just avoid it and like put it over here and never check it and never think that like, oh, I needed to plan for it and make time for it and do all these things? Like it's that relationship to cultivate too. And it can be one, if you need a budget buddy, I'll be your budget buddy, right? Like and have that positive relationship where it is a relationship that you cultivate and spend time with.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, back to Daniel and Jenna.
And Kim asked if you can say more about money not trusting me. I don't know if you want to.
Well, okay. So one of the things I love to do, Kim and Jenna, is listen for words that will assist the person. So I'm going to answer your question this way. The word budget has a lot of spin on it for Jenna. There's a process that we do in Lightyear where she could refile it. I'm going to actually offer another word for budget. And it's for you to have a certain amount of balance and a relationship with cash flow and savings, because you have a strong relationship with balance, being an athlete, all of your background in body work, all of those things. So could we use that word instead of budget? Balance makes her a little happier. Could have a balance buddy. Now, to answer the question about, what she needs, Kim, is she needs a practice where her attention and her consciousness around money replaces the avoidance pattern of just, because I can kind of feel Jenna just going, you should just be able to not have to think about it. That's actually not the case. That's why the whole prosperity course is about relationship and finance. So she's building a relationship with money. She needs to date money. She needs to have, she just needs to be respectful, loving to it, because she is overcoming inherited beliefs that it'll be taken away from her, it won't last. And actually, that doesn't need to be the case, but she's writing a new story. She's a new author for a new script. Does that land, Kim? Does that make sense? Here she comes. Yeah. She's typing.
Yeah, she said a little more.
A little more. Yeah. And this is something we can keep expanding. So yeah, Daniel, is your connection good? Do you want to keep moving through people and kind of seeing what we build? Because we'll see that in the next 20 minutes, we'll see a lot more.
Yeah. Daniel's working on his connection. He's nodding.
Well, why don't we do this? So Jenna,
Yes.
you stay right there. And then why don't we go to you, Kim, just because you asked the question, and let's sort of see. So what do you see in this question about inherited beliefs from either your mother or father that affect your well-being, your wealth?
Thanks, Suzanne.
Hey.
I wrote down what the first thing that came to mind was that life is a struggle
Yes.
and nothing comes easy. And so because of that, you should just take what you can get and then be grateful for that.
Yes.
And also the idea of because something is better than nothing, then there's just so little to be divided between people, that you should, if you get that first job offer, take that one, even though it's not the one you want, because it's better than getting nothing. And who knows if something else will come up. And so that's 100% my inherited belief and legacy around money.
Okay, great. And now, so everyone on the line, everyone listening to the recording, more than half of the struggle for Kim has been met because she has brought to language the previously unseen invisible forces impacting her behavior around money. Do you guys all see that? So now that she's written it and sees it, let's go down the same line of thinking that Daniel was taking us with Jenna Z. How do you see that affecting your behavior now? And what new choices could you make now that you see it?
Well, I kind of go to both extremes. So I could see a lot of myself in Jenna where I don't budget either. And I also give myself a very long leash to get whatever I want and to go to the dinners and to, rent a very expensive apartment. And then on the inside of that, I'm struggling and I'm stressed and I'm angry at myself because I knew it wouldn't work out anyways, or because I should have been smarter because I know that, that money doesn't always flow how I believe it should. And then on the other side, I also I'm very a minimalist. I'm very I put a lot of thought towards what happened for me to get this item. And so on that regard, I'm pretty minimalistic in terms of ordering things and, reusing things and stuff like that. And so I feel that I do a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Oh my gosh, you did a great thing by recycling all these things and this and that. So now you get to buy yourself those shoes because look what you did. And so I do a lot of I'm constantly cheating on other parts to get to do something else. Or it's oh, I said I was going to take care of myself and, go to acupuncture. But instead of doing that, I'd rather go buy this dress that I want. And then I can't go to acupuncture because I don't have any money. So it's I'll do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Okay. So, well, thank you for being here. This is I completely get everything you're saying. And there's nothing wrong with anything you're saying, except that there's something that you want other than that. There is a new relationship or harmony that you want with how you acquire and experience goods and services in your life. Now, are you a person who has a spirit-based practice or is interested in that? Yeah. So really what we do better than anyone I've met so far in the world, and I've studied a lot of people and I love them, is we help people understand how we are in this continual stream of manifestation of things. So there will be times when you buying those shoes is a way to honor an artist and to send your energy and money to elevate the life of somebody else, even if it's not handcrafted. I want you to hear me. So you're in both of you. So far on the line, we have two people who are actively. So here's the big win for both Jenna and Kim. You ready for it? Brrr, drum roll with a pillow on my lap. You are breaking the cycle. And what's there is for you to find your own way in this world to honor who you are, love and forgive and understand your parents forge a world that you believe in, and leave yourself at night able to sleep in peace. Okay, so Kim, let's choose one step that you could take. So all those things you said, let them do what my teacher Dorothy said, just let them settle in order of priority with your relationship with wealth. And what's one of the most important things? What is most important right now for you? Is it to save? Is it to spend? Is it to find passion? What is it?
It's to make enough money to pay for my monthly expenses.
Okay, so it's also balanced for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel.
Like right now I'm in a deficit. So I have
Okay,
all of my bills are higher than what I make.
okay. All right, so Daniel and Jen, I'm pretty sure this group of people needs to refile the word budget, and they need to refile it in like 5 minutes. So would you like to lead that, Jen? Do you recall how to do that? You could do it with Kim, or would you like me to do it? What would you love?
Yeah, will you do it and let me watch? I mean, I think
Yeah.
I do. And if you would do it, it would
Okay, it's a real simple thing. It's a Dorothy Wood Espio thing, and I'm going to deputize Kim as the body of the group, and everyone here will have something to share and see and sense. So part of what's special about Light Year is that we're live and we do real things. I've not talked to Kim about this. She doesn't know any of this, and we trust all of it. That's what we do every day, and that makes me a happy woman. Somewhere, somehow, the word budget has been accidentally defiled for many people, and it's filed under some negative meanings. And we want to clean that off so that budget could simply be filed under B's as budget. So we're going to also use inner hearing to just find out how many things it's attached to that are negative, and what are its correct definitions, how many things under its correct definition. So Kim, just go ahead and choose to succeed. You're going to be great at this. And you've got Jenna here because she's your budget wonder buddy once we get budget cleaned off. So, all right. So how many other words or meanings, it's probably going to be less than 5, is budget filed under that aren't actually the word budget? It'll be a number. Trust yourself.
So you mean synonyms for the word budget?
No, not synonyms. Just get a number. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. How many things? Just trust yourself.
5.
5. That's right. Okay, 5. 5. Let's go for 5. So now we've got 5 things that are pulling the word budget out of its actual meaning in the mind of the mass consciousness, and likely for you and Jen, and maybe for me too, because I don't budget in that way. And then how many positive, correct ways do we need to identify on this call? And it'll
5.
also be 5. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so we're going to keep track, Jen. All right, and so without editing yourself, just being at peace with it, people could also share in the chat if they hear it. What's the first negative word that budget is filed under?
Restriction.
Restriction. Perfect.
Failure.
Second word, failure. Third word,
Not enough.
not enough. Fourth word,
Scary.
scary,
Stressful.
scary / stressful. And now we've got one more left. We've got number 5, but we're going to go now for a moment and listen for, there's also 5 words that budget wants to be. So just keep that in mind. So as we identify this 5th word that budget is negatively connected with, I want it to be able to, we want to do what we call scooping the cookie bowl. So like getting that last little batter. So we've got, limiting, debt, pain, fear, restriction, failure, sacrifice, constriction, hard. What's the 5th and final negative word that it's been filed under? It just wants to live over there with the bees. It's a budget. It doesn't want to have to live with this. And what is this other thing that it's filed under? You go to create a budget, but it goes over here. And what is that?
Suffering.
It's suffering. Oh my God. Can you feel that clear? Can you feel now, people? Can you feel that clear? Now, our job as a group, whoever wants to do it can do it with me. We file limiting under L, debt under D, pain under P, fear under F, restriction under R, failure under F, sacrifice under S, constriction under C, heart under H, right? And suffering under S. You feel that? Those words mean something different. And I'm just touching my fingers together. I'm hitting the save key. Now we're going to go look and see budget, just what? Budget, people. If we had Brett Conrad on this phone right now, he's my husband. He always keeps me up to date on what the US deficit is. We need balanced realities. It's crucial. I'm only shouting because I care. So we want the budget to trust us. We want the money to trust us. We want the balance there. Jen, could you just quickly look up the primary definition in the dictionary for budget and post it in the chat? But so now with your heart and your spirit at peace, and when you go look at like what a budget can really bring you, what it wants to be for you, Kim, what it actually is. So a budget is an estimate of income and expenditure for a set period of time. It's a tool to plan with money, says Margaret, bless her. So what's the first positive thing? And when I mean positive, I don't necessarily mean dualistic. I just mean like what it actually is, like clean, uncharged. What's the first word of these 5 words that budget can mean to you now that we've see? Because when something's not filed correctly, it's defiled, like it made dirty. We now have a clean budget. What's the first word, Kim?
The first one that came to mind was opportunity.
Whoa. Well, I'll take that for 500. Opportunity. It's an opportunity. Okay, great. Good job. What's the second one?
Exciting.
Exciting. Right. It's not only is it an opportunity, but it's exciting. Because I'll tell you what, in Feng Shui, they talk about really being able to know what's coming in and what's going out. That's a way to respect, just the way you would your guests. You welcome them into your home through your front door, and you have that time. And when they leave, you say, thank you. And I'd like you to come back and bring more of your friends. So that's how money wants to be an opportunity. It wants to be exciting. And the budget wants to facilitate the transparency so that you can realize that. Okay. What's the third word that it's related to for you?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Opportunity. Exciting, freedom. Fourth word is
love.
Oh my God. Okay, now scrape the cookie bowl. We're going to get the last little bit of the cookie dough out, and we'll even need chocolate chips in there so that we have that last cookie right there, because that's where that 100% is. What's the fifth word for you today to be magical. There'll be magic in it. Yes. Okay, so now, good job. Okay, just here. Kim, everybody on the line, pat yourself on the back. Good job listening. You all reset a field. So now I'm going to let that be there for the moment. And I'm going to touch base back with Jen and Daniel. I just feel good job, Kim. Good job, Jenna.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Yeah, I can thank this group. So before we move on to Melinda and Chanda and Kelly, let's just briefly hear from Jenna and Kim. What do you sense now about like looking at a budget and having the wonder of talking with another person about it? What could that feel like now?
Well, the fun thing is Kim and I are actually really close friends in real life. So this is like,
oh yeah.
Anna invited me to this.
I was like, I love that we can be so like.
Did I know that?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
Not, no.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so sweet.
So it's fun to know that I have like a buddy to do this with. And I do like the feeling of thinking of it as opportunity, exciting, freedom, love, magical. But I'll tell you what, I had a belief creep in during that, and I said, how do I do this with inconsistent income? So I'm already like shooting it down because I don't have don't have consistent income. So I'm like, how do I budget when I don't know what I'm making?
You listen for a way, and one of them will be to average.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will find a way, and you have a wealth of friends. And it might be that you'll have to teach Kim how to tush you, so that, so that if you have an incorrect belief, you don't let it get the better of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wait, I'm
But it
going to
does
leave
feel
you.
better to have that like different energy around the word budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows how to refile a word. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so let's go here to Kelly. What are you seeing, Kelly?
Oh, well, this is just so relevant right now. And in short, budget and scarcity has become a bigger conversation in my household. And the behavior that I had engaged in like big time, end of 2021, 2022 was not respecting money and just like spending a lot of it because I had made a lot of it before and I didn't change my spending. And I was just like, woo, free. It was too free flowing. And we had to like rein it in, with the budget. And I actually like it. And now I'm thinking about this like scarcity conversation that we're having at home. And I do like the consistency of a paycheck. And I am starting to lean towards like, oh, I think I do want to go back to a like job for a company where I can rely on that. Great. And I'm totally okay with it. And doing this exercise was actually interesting because I didn't realize the polarity that I grew up with. And like, in short, I had 5 things for each parent and they were the exact opposite beliefs about money. And my moms were like, money is status. Money is mine. Well, greedy about it. Donated. Hers were like, it's meant to be spent on things. Money equals happiness. And money is like always going to be there regardless of my contributions towards getting it. I don't have to work and I'm going to be taken care of, like sitting pretty. And then my dad, yeah, and I was like doing that a little bit. And my dads are like, wealth equals greed. Money needs to be saved. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. Money doesn't equal happiness. Money equals hard work. We have enough of it. Enough. And so I had this polarity around it. So at times I feel really abundant and really safe with it. And other times I'm like, but I need this thing and it's not enough. And so, it's just a conversation. Yeah.
Super powerful insights.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, the 2 words that are just so loud for me around it, the thing that I've had to heal is respect for money. I had to really respect the money. And I've been thinking so much about everything I do. And when it came down to it, the thing underneath that was time. And this limiting belief, like when I was spending a lot of it, it was a belief that it was like making up for time. More childcare, don't have time for my kids, don't have time to do the going to the post office and waiting. So I got to rush speed it, don't have time to buy the Christmas present. So all of the extra charges for all that stuff. And it was a carryover from my corporate behavior. And it's been limiting me from going back to a job because I had this belief that I'm going to start to compromise all those things again. So the big word now is like compromise. And that's what I'm trying to.
The big word that you are using as a theme or that you'd like me to talk to you about?
To heal is that
to heal.
The compromise, which is like, I can't do a job I love and have money and be a good mom and have the time. So it comes from that polarity and like these opposite, like this tension around it. Yeah.
It's time to integrate those so that this civil war within is at peace. And you know how to do that. You know who to reach out to. There's many people in your community to do that.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows that integration is a body of work from my teacher, Dorothy Wood Espio, that helps when there are things that want to come together, but that have an interference or an incompatibility, seemingly so. And I believe if you do that, you'll bridge it, just the way many of us have had to deal with the inherited belief that we can't both be wonderful parents and wonderful contributors in the working business world. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I love seeing you all. Okay, so here's the thing, Jen and Daniel, we have a couple people to talk to. I would like to have permission to just go over like 5 minutes, because we started 4 minutes late, and I'd love to call on Shanda and then also Melinda. Hey, Shanda.
Hi, everybody. Gosh, this has been amazing. I'm actually at my mother's home in Alabama. My stepfather passed away a few days
Oh my.
before Christmas, so I'm back up here. And earlier today, we met with his financial advisor, and my parents had they have a living trust, and so I'm here like helping my mom, who gave me a lot of these inherited beliefs that, you know, people like, we don't have things like this, and I can see her actions like, I don't understand any of this, and this is all a mess, and I'm gonna have to go to a lawyer, and then I have to pay this person, and I just don't even want this thing. I just want to give the money to his kids and be done with it, you know, like, and they're gonna come after my house, and just like complete scarcity. And I'm like, no, you know, you have right of survivorship or something. The house is yours. Like, no one can take it away from you. But that's her mindset. Or like, his kids, I know they're going to start coming after me. And I'm just like, whoa, you know. And the thing
Shanda, I want you to do something.
I must. Oh,
wait,
yeah.
I want to tell you something physical. So this is your mom. And this
Yes.
is her second husband. So when she's like at the sink or something like that, washing the dishes, I want you to just come behind her real sweet, like a daughter, and say, hey, Mom, I'm just going to pet your kidneys. I want you to just take your hands down the back and just say, I want you to just use your hands to help her calm her adrenals and her kidneys, because those adrenals are firing. They're sitting right on top of the kidneys, and those kidneys are the fear. And then you're just going to do that a little bit. And then when it's time for you to talk with her, she'll be able to hear you. Because you are going to know what to
She'll
do.
love
But
it.
I want you to pet her
Yeah.
kidneys first. And you can say, you know, this lady out west said this would be good. But and she'll laugh and think you're a little crazy, but it's going to help her be able to hear you. So that she doesn't see. Do you see how the conversation has gone full circle from Jenna Z, showing us how, you know, there's an avoidance pattern sometimes. And now Shanda's mom is like, I just don't want to even have to whatever. But see, the money and the will wants to be looked at. It wants to be understood. It wants to be received. There's wishes involved for the dad and the kids and the wife. And this is how we also, listen to me, people, this is how we honor the dead, is to calm everyone down and to listen. Okay.
Thank you. I love that. And actually, this is a wonderful opportunity for me because, you know, up until this moment, I didn't know what a trust was. And I had done the vision and goals work with Dale. And so I had been thinking about what is my legacy. And especially now that I'm in this, well, I believe I'm already transitioning. My husband wouldn't agree, but, you know, I'm definitely completing my marriage. My mother, again, she's like, you're going to see if he's been paying the bills, it's going to be so hard. It's just, your life is just going to be so hard. And I'm like, yes. And it's okay. Like I'll get, you know, it's good. And so my whole attitude just within this hour is totally shifting. The amazing thing about that trust and about my stepdad was that he always had investments. You know, he had passive income. He did things like that my dad, my biological dad, my mom never did. And I mean, they were all from like very, very poor Eastern Kentucky, Eastern Tennessee. I mean, he was basically an orphan, they lived through the Depression. They never throw anything away, you know, like nothing can be thrown away. They were reducing and recycling and reusing before any of that was a thing, which was great. But I mean, she still wears socks that I bought from the Limited when I was in 8th grade, y'all. I mean, it's bad. So anyway, I'm just so glad that I can be here to help her, but it's showing me that not only for my happiness, because I thought, well, just me personally, I don't really need that much. I just want to work so I can travel, and with someone that I'm in a loving partnership with, or, you know, go travel and do like great philanthropic things with my engineering background around the world, serve others in that way. Like that is my vision.
I'll tell you
However,
what,
now I realize like,
oh, no, go ahead. Pardon.
oh, I was just going to say, like, the money, the fact that my stepdad, you know, got my mom, like they did set up this trust. We don't have to put anything in probate. There is a will because he has 4 children, multiple grandchildren, great grandchildren, and all these investments. And now my mom, like, she's not in a complete terror situation where
That's right.
she doesn't know like how she's going to pay the bills. And it's actually extremely loving, extremely kind. Now he never would pick like a place to be buried, so we had to make some decisions about that for him. But ultimately, like having the security and the legacy of this money for the family, it's got me thinking a lot about that. And it's not just about like me living in the present from day to day and having the things that I want. I mean, I do want to be able to leave something for my children. And my mom will leave that for me. And that's a cycle. I mean, that's something that's never been possible until like this generation. So it's pretty amazing, really. And if my kids can even like continue to grow and like we can have passive income, investments, you know, advanced degrees, things like that. This legacy of like dirt poor Appalachian people, like
Yes,
that cycle is going to be broken.
that cycle is being broken.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reading that Barbara Kingsolver novel right now, you know, Demon Copperhead. Absolutely.
That's what someone suggested to me in the chat.
We'll
Yeah.
get on it. We'll
Yeah.
do it. We'll do a book club. So I'm just
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to tell me your stepfather's first name.
Jim.
Jim. I want to just thank Jim. Good job, Jim. G-O-O-D-J-O-B.
Yeah, good job,
Good job, Jim. And good job
Yeah.
you being there. And thank you. And I'm gonna just turn to Melinda and we're gonna land. And hopefully all of you
Thank
will
you.
participate in this upcoming course. Okay, Melinda, what do you see?
I want to thank Jenna and Kim because as they were speaking, I discovered, okay, the legacy is, if I choose to spend money on one thing, the money is no longer available for all the other things I want. So I better not spend on this so that I keep my options open. And when it comes to what's the behavior, and I saw there's this video about times that you have to put the big thing in your jar. You put the golf ball in your jar first so that you can put all the little things. And so I'm not doing that with money, because what if my one golf ball becomes another golf ball?
Yes.
And I could do this. I could say, okay, I want to travel business class to go to Europe. And what if I put the money, whatever it's going to cost, there? And I don't have to purchase for now just to see, but like I saw how I could put the big things first.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and especially this year. So to put those big things in the jar first and let the water and the sand come around them, and to be able to know what our priorities are. And it's so nice to see you and to have you here. So with that, I would like to just let our wonderful faculty member Jen and Daniel land us, and just thank you so much for the participation and the way that you all have held this field.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Big work. Refiling budget is the work of this group and the work of many, many, many people. It's a huge piece of work. Thank you all for being here. And we do invite you to join us for Whole Prosperity. If you thought this was an enlightening, powerful conversation, join us for 5 more weeks of this conversation where you'll walk away with a transformed relationship with money, time, right? I promise. We promise that you will. We start on January 24th, and we'll send you an email tomorrow with the recording of this call, all the information on how to join us for Whole Prosperity, and a way for you to book a call to chat with us. Daniel, what else do you want to say?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, good. I was responding in the chat to a question. I just had so much fun. This is so much fun. I'm sorry I had such an unstable connection that I was in the just a picture for a while, and so much fun. And I think we're gonna send out a little treat to like a podcast or something with our follow-up. So just stay tuned for a fun little thing from the Whole Prosperity course. And please join us if you can.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
All right, come off mute, say good night, goodbye, happy Thursday, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen and Daniel. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Aloha.